Hey girl, and welcome back to my channel. If it is your first time here, my name is Ashley, and if you're returning, welcome back. So in today's episode, we are going over episode 6 from Sex and the City reboot, and it is entitled Diwali. I hope I'm saying that right. And I just want to go over really quickly what Diwali is before we just jump into the recap, because I want to pay homage to this festival. So this festival is a festival of lights and one of the major festivals celebrated by Hindus, Jains or Jains, not sure about the pronunciation, and Sikhs. The festival usually lasts 5 days and is celebrated during the Hindu lunisolar month Kartika between mid-October and mid-November. It symbolizes the victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. Okay, so let's jump right into this recap. Let's get started. So this episode, even though it is entitled Diwali or Diwali, I want to point out that for me, this episode in my mind was entitled Prioritizing Happiness. So there was a lot of cultural appropriation talk in this episode between Seema and Carrie. Okay, so as I said, the cultural appropriation in this episode really stands out. We have Lily and Rose who, well, for Lily no longer wants to have these little Asian dolls in her room, and so she was talking to Charlotte about that. And you know, Charlotte always just ignorant child, not in a bad way, but Charlotte just in her own mind, she's trying to understand so many things. We have Rose who no longer wants to have her little mural name on the wall. Like, there's a lot of changes happening. That is very relatable. Kids are always changing. As a parent, you have to be ready to roll with the punches. It is an everyday struggle, child. So the Indian garments, Seema wanted Carrie to come to her family's gathering, and so they went to this little shop and they were looking at Indian garments, traditional Indian garments, and Carrie asked, is it okay if I wear this? Like, Seema told her, wear the garment. And she's like, is that okay? And so this, points out the cultural, differences and respecting people's culture. Like, don't just throw on somebody's culture, their traditional garments and garbs if you are not of that culture, you haven't gotten permission. So that is definitely relatable, because I know y'all have seen people wearing cornrows that shouldn't be wearing cornrows. I'm not one of those people that is the hair police. I feel like there are plenty of people on social media that are taking care of that. You know what I mean? I speak about things that I care about, but I can't pick apart every single thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is a very fine line. I think that everybody is going to make a mistake. And I think disrespect is disrespect for sure. And I think that there is a lot more disrespect popping up lately, especially during Black History Month. But I can't fight every fire. And I think that everybody has their lane and what they choose to go after, and I 100% support it. I know the struggles of not being white and I remember not being able to have certain hairstyles or being picked out just because I look the way I look, and me and someone else can have the exact same hairstyle, yet mine is being picked apart. I have experienced on the job being pointed out for my body shape and wearing the same exact thing as someone else, but because I'm curvaceous, I'm being pointed out. And that's happened to me at school, hair school. Like, there's so many instances. So it is infuriating when people do things deliberately to disrespect your culture, especially when it's something that is not just openly celebrated by, the masses or wherever you live, wherever you're from, where you feel like the oddball, or, you know what I'm saying? It's something that you get made fun of for, but someone else could just throw it on like it's, just makeup or something. You know what I'm saying? So, that's cool that they pointed that out. They didn't go too in depth about it, but they pointed it out. So Carrie moved into a new property, which is absolutely freaking stunning. I just cannot. Like, could you see yourself living somewhere like that? I mean, completely glass. That's something that I've always wanted. Completely just natural sunlight all day, and then you just look over, you see the Hudson. It's just, I can't even imagine how much that property costs, but it was absolutely beautiful and good for Carrie. It's just also representing just luxury and just like being taken care of by someone. It's insinuated that that is Big's money and that he left it to her. So there's a lot to unpack there, and it's interesting. So the professor was talking about her fertility issues with Miranda, and Professor seems to still be like, I don't know if I'm on board with this whole women must have children thing. And like I told y'all before, I respect women who decide to not have children. And it's a double-edged sword, because it's like, wow, I know the love of being a mom, but I also know I'm very thankful for being a mom, but I also know how hard of a job that is, and such a thankless job. I always respect somebody's wishes about that. It is just one of those things. I do respect it though. We also covered plastic surgery in this episode, which is really, really cool, because it also just pointed out the double standard in aging and how women are treated versus how men are treated in aging. And all of these things play a factor for women. Being a mom, aging, the aging process, how we are picked apart pretty much from birth, and men are just put up on this pedestal, and they can get the dad bod, but we better not gain a pound after giving birth. Like, there are just so many things that contribute to how women feel. And it's like, so specifically in this episode, the plastic surgeon comes in. So Carrie's there with Anthony and Stanley scheduled this plastic surgery consultation to get facelifts together, right? So we know that Stanley is no longer in the picture right now, so Anthony asked Carrie to go with him to the consultation for moral support. Well, as soon as the plastic surgeon comes in, he assumes that Carrie is the patient, and it's like, whoa, like that's crazy. Like, and he, she told him, no, it's not for me. In this episode, we see all the advancements being made towards technology, and we see a simulated picture of what Carrie would look like with fillers, injectables, and I'm like, wow, what a self-esteem killer. But at the same time, you guys, let's be honest. When we are doing these things, we know you're going to a plastic surgery office. There are people employed there that are in the business of plastic surgery, which is enhancements, which is changing how you look, which is taking 15 years off of your appearance. We know this, and we have to remember this. And I think it is important to take someone with you for moral support, because, well, not me, because when I went, I already knew what I wanted. Like, when you go to a plastic surgery office or a med spa, you know what you're going there for, girl. So make sure you have this together before you get there, because they are going to start suggesting things to you. Now, what I have noticed is they have a very strategic way of going about suggesting things, but for me, I just go in there and I just start rolling off, I think I need this, and this, and I want it to look like this, and this. And I've been told, no, you don't need that yet, or blah, blah, blah. I like those type of professionals. So just know what you're getting yourself into. Because Carrie looked like she was feeling pretty sensitive. I mean, aging is a very sensitive thing. Even at my age, I'm 35, and I have been hard on myself. I've been hard on myself, I'm not gonna lie. Moving on, but Miranda been masturbating to Shay. She been touching herself, child. thinking about Shay. And we'll get into that more in a minute. In this episode, we talked about arranged marriages and women aging out when it comes to marriage. And I do think this is a problem. Like, a lot of women are just opting not to be married. They don't see the benefit. They think that the dating pool is complete and utter trash. And trust me, I am right there with you. I like who I like. I love who I love. And they right here in this pocket. But anything outside of that, it's not looking hopeful. And that could just be social media distorting everyone's optics. But, child, I'd be scared to get back out there. I am not gonna lie to you. But let me know if you guys are open to arranged marriages. Do you think they're a good idea? Is it something that you would feel okay with doing? I think it takes a special type of individual to go through with that, and that's no judgment, but that is, and that might be just the best option ever for some people, because they end up growing to love each other. But I just feel like the women kind of, I don't know, it's like, I just feel like women get the shaft in any instance in life. I'm not understanding the significance of the cigarette smoking in the episodes with Seema. Maybe we'll get to that later, but there is a lot of open cigarette smoking. And this is not me judging. I used to smoke cigarettes for a short time in my life, which is something I never ever thought I would do. But I've been clean for a very long time, trust me. But I'm not understanding the significance of them showing that. I'm wondering, is that going to be a thing again? Quitting cigarette smoking is really, really hard. So trust me, I know. And I'm not judging you. I've just seen so many different advancements. I mean, I grew up in the era where people were still smoking cigarettes in establishments. And so we've moved on from that, and I'm just like, why are they showing so much cigarette smoking with Carrie and Seema? I don't know. It's one of those things. You know, women, I know there was a point in time in history where women were looked at as being very sexy, just, you know, with the cigarette thing. But I know that creates like lines on the face. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, they're intentionally pointing it out, but I don't know why. So Miranda ends up confessing to Charlotte that she has had an affair with Shay. It was interesting because at first it was just like, you know, they were just openly talking about Shay, and Miranda was like, oh, I touched myself to Shay, and Charlotte was like, oh my god, yes, Shay is all that, and I didn't touch myself, but I had a dream about Shay, and at first I was like, catfight? Girl, but Miranda ended up saying no, like, it wasn't just a fantasy, like, I actually did that with Shay. And Carrie, this scene was so, they are so mad with Miranda, like, they are so upset with Miranda for doing this. And it's like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, if that was my dog, if that was my homegirl, my loyalty is to my homegirl. Like, now if we were all like family friends, like close, but you never see them all hanging out with Miranda and Steve. Like, they know Steve, but Steve not doing what he need to do at home. And Steve has had infidelity. I'm not saying this is right by any means, but Miranda let him know that she didn't want to be with him anymore the last episode. They didn't go back and tell us where Miranda and Steve stand right now. So I assume they're separated. I mean, listen. This affair is good for Miranda. And I think it would hurt Steve if he knew. And I think that Steve needs to take into consideration that his wife is not happy. But he said, you know, if you're not happy, then we've been together so long, like, Steve is not willing to try anything different, which is alarming to me. What I do know is that Miranda is having a good time, but I still feel like Miranda is about to get her feelings hurt. She ended up texting Shay in this episode. We don't know if Shay replied or whatever, but she reached out like she's thinking about Shay in her off time. I haven't seen Shay reach out to her. So I don't know about that. I hope Miranda, like, if it's just physical, it's just physical, Miranda. But don't be getting your little feelings hurt, okay? But anyways, she was tired of them ragging on her, so she got up to leave. And Carrie is all like, I can't lose anybody else. Like, everything is about Biggs passing. And it's about Carrie realizing, like, no, I value every single thing in my life. You know what I mean? But they was hard on Charlotte and Miranda. And I'll be honest, I am bothered by Charlotte and I am bothered by Carrie. Like, they just giving me some weird vibes lately. And I think I probably always felt like Carrie's character was a little bit annoying. But this is really... I don't know, y'all. I'm not... I don't know. So, at the end of the episode, Carrie realized that she didn't want to forget things. She didn't want to move on and get rid of big stuff. At least not all of it. And, you know, in due time, when that woman is ready to get rid of that stuff, she will. Or she might not. Do I think it's healthy to move on with your life? Yeah. If you can find someone. But some women know that they found their person and they just never, they're content with that. You know what I mean? But I do think it's healthy to get back out there and, you know, if you so choose. I don't think there's any shame in that. At the very end of the episode, Charlotte seemed to be coming around and just, you know, being okay with her children's personal life decisions. And I know that's difficult. It's very humbling, like I said before. I'm putting cuticle oil on. And, you know, it's very relatable. That's all I can say is it's super relatable because your kids have their own identity. You could try to shape them and mold them into being respectable citizens, but they are just people. They are people, and people make their own decisions. So that is episode 6, and it was a lot of different things being thrown at you at one time, but they were all things that definitely needed to be addressed. Happy Black History Month. And if you are someone who does not understand why so many things have to be talked about and pointed out, just take a step outside of your privilege, your ignorance, and try to just understand and just try to listen. And if you listen without without being biased, you will hear a lot of the same conversations and just to try to imagine yourself living the life that some other people live. Not to say woe is me or anything like that, but there are a lot of things that people go through just because they are different, or maybe they look different, or they're not in the American beauty standard. They may feel beautiful, but it's really difficult to walk around every day and to know, almost like to have this scarlet letter on you that seems to make people feel like you're less than. It's really hard to keep your light shining when you feel like the world thinks that you are just not crap. So I thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for returning, and if this is your first time here, thank you for coming by. I hope you will stick around. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you give me your comments down below. Let me know. Tell me about myself, girl. No, but just tell me your thoughts, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.